Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei teleported to Ben10 Alien Force and had Omnitrix Part 5. This is the continuation of What If Issei teleported to Ben10. Before we start, please go support Photon DX10 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 07. Double date at the pier pairing Ben and Julie. Normal POV. It was at night and in the middle of the forest on the outskirts of Bellwood, there was a huge spaceship, and a kind of green and black mucus came out of it and merged with a nearby truck, and the trucker was scared to see that his truck had come to life. And he started running for his life while the being that had possessed the truck drove to Bellwood. POV Issei. We were on the tennis court watching Julie Yamamoto, Ben's future love interest, about to win a tennis game, and she started smiling at Ben to get his attention, and Ben liked that gesture and Gwen tells him to ask Julie, let him go out with him. Yuma. Come on, Ben, ask him out, I think you two would make a good couple. Yuma said to Ben. Ben. But what if he finds out about the Omnitrix and that you and Issei are from another world? I don't want him to think I'm weird. Ben said. Gwen. Ben, you're weird, but somehow you're sensitive and funny, not like anyone else I know. Gwen said. Issei. In other words, like Kevin sleeping in the bleachers. I said, pointing to Kevin sleeping in the stands, and we saw that Julie managed to win, and we all applauded her, and with so much applause Kevin woke up. Yuma. Come on, Ben, it's your chance. Yuma said to Ben. Ben. I'm not sure, hey, Ben said, and me and Gwen dragged him down to where Julie was. Julie? Ben. Julie said. Ben. Julie, hello, do you already know my cousin Gwen and my friends Issei and Yuma? Ben said to Julie and we introduced ourselves. Issei, an honor to meet you, Julie. I said to Julie. Yuma. Congratulations on your victory. Yuma said. Ben. Well done, good game, said in game, whatever, well, see you around. Ben said about to leave, but I blocked his path and Gwen sent him straight towards Julie. Julie. You're back soon. Julie said. Ben. Yes, and Julie, I was wondering if you would like you and me to go out someday. Ben said to the black-haired girl. Julie. Sure, when? Julie asked Ben and stood back to ask Gwen. Ben. She said when, that's like yes but more specific, now what? Ben asked. Gwen. Tell him what do you think about today? Gwen suggested. Ben. Tonight. Ben said surprised. Issei. Come on, Ben, you won't have another chance like this in life. I said to my best friend and he approached Julie. Ben. If you want, we can go to the pier at night, Issei and Yuma could even accompany us. Ben said and that surprised the fallen angel in me. Yuma. Ben, what the buck are you saying? Yuma asked angrily at what Ben said. Julie. Okay, well, I'm going to take a shower. Julie said. Ben. Well, me too. Ben said nervously and Gwen approached. Gwen. They'll be here at 7 p.m. Sometimes I wonder how the species survive. Gwen said. Yuma. No idea, Gwen, but one thing is clear. Men are dumber than pigeons. Yuma said and Gwen nodded. Issei. And the worst thing, I have to go on a date with Yuma, that brings back horrible memories. I said, remembering how I ended up almost dead on my first date at the hands of Yuma when I was still a villain. Yuma. Don't remind me, I still regret what I did to you to this day, Issei. Yuma said and we went to Ben's house, in my case, I went to Yuma's apartment where I have been living the last few days since I arrived here again. Meanwhile on the highway, there was a police officer investigating the stolen truck at night and there was no sign of the thief, not knowing that what had controlled the truck mixed with his patrol car and left the scene and was heading to Bellwood. Meanwhile with me, I was in the living room of Yuma's apartment and sitting on the couch where I sleep there since Michael attacked Gwen and Yuma and being on a double date is weird. Well, if it was a date with my girlfriend Rias it would be fine, but with Yuma, it only brings back memories of how he hurt me, and that I had to break his face in the abandoned church on the outskirts of Kuo to save Asia after extracting her sacred gear, and that she asked me not to send Rias to hell, but I let Rias kill her, and the rest tells itself. Issei. It's not that I have anything against Yuma, but a date with her only reopens old emotional wounds that took me a while to heal. Rias, if you were here, what would you do? I need an answer, I said and saw Kevin enter through the door. Kevin. Well, I'm not Rias, but I can tell you that Ben has almost the same problem as you, Hyoudou. Kevin said. Issei. Kevin, how exactly did you find Yuma's apartment, if I may know? I asked the emotion. Kevin. My mother's friend lives here and she thought you were a thief, but Yuma told her that you were a friend of hers who needed a place to sleep. Kevin said. Issei. Or rather because you used your powers to force the lock to open. I said. Kevin. No, because Yuma had an extra key under the doormat. Kevin said showing the key. Issei. Seriously, Kevin, what do you want? If you come here to screw up my day, there's no need, because Ben already screwed up my day. I said to Kevin. Kevin. No, I'm here to ask you if you want me to take you and Yuma to the pier before I take Ben and Julie. Kevin asked. Issei. No thanks, Kevin, Yuma and I will take the bus to go to the pier, but thanks for asking. I said to Kevin. Kevin. Well, I'm not forcing you, but you better not cause trouble to Yuma, Hyoudou. Kevin said. Issei. Don't worry, Kevin, what's the worst that could happen? I said. 3 hours later. Issei. Okay, this is the worst thing that could happen. I said very nervously and I saw that Ben and Julie arrived at the dock and I just remembered that Nave, Julie's future pet, appeared to get Ben's attention and to come help Azazel who was trapped in his ship. Ben. Issei, Yuma, how good to see you, did you wait a long time for us? Ben asked. Yuma. What's up, we just got here 5 minutes ago. Yuma said and we entered the dock and noticed that the 4 of us were the only visitors. Ben. Yeah, and it's usually packed on the weekends. Ben said. Julie. Yes, so we have the place for the 4 of us. Julie said, holding Ben's arm. Issei. Well, time to have fun, I guess. I said and our Omnitrix started beeping like crazy and I know what ship is here possibly causing havoc. Julie. Are those watches? Julie asked and she covered her ears when she saw our Omnitrix and we got nervous. Ben. Yeah, we have to fix them, do you want cotton candy? Stay here with Yuma, we'll be back. Ben said and we hid under one of the stalls on the dock. Issei. Why do they have to ring now, damn I said, annoyed, without knowing which ship had passed in front of us and he saw Ben and me with his Mechimorphi when he saw our Omnitrix and he noticed a couple of bumper cars to possibly get our attention and merged with one and people started screaming when they saw that the ship had merged with a crash car. Ben. That's not good. Ben said and the 2 of us fled from the ship to try to control the situation and we ran to a post to prevent him from continuing to attack us and he began to emit signals to our Omnitrix so that we could go with him to go help Azazel. Issei. Doesn't this have a silent mode, or what? I asked desperately and Nave started ramming the pole and Ben and I fell on top of it. Ben. Well, I'm already sick of all this, Ben said. Issei. Me too, 3 of us jumped Ben. 1, 2, 3 me and Ben said and we left the ship and he noticed that we were not there and Ben took off his jacket to use it as a bullfighter's cape. Ben. Hey, Torito, come here Ben said, playing a bullfighter and Nave decided to attack the beast and the Mechimorph collided with a metal post that was behind Ben's jacket. Issei. Where did you get your driving license? In a driving school for the blind. I said mocking Nave. Ben. And I hope there's an explanation for what happened, although we doubt it. Ben said. Issei. Let's better go back before Yuma runs out of patience. I said and Ben and I left to return to the girls without knowing which ship had come out of the crash car without first running into the cotton candy seller. Issei. Is something wrong, Lord? I asked the seller. Salesperson. Guys, you 2 and I have an appointment with my insurance adjuster, said the cotton candy seller, somewhat angry. Ben. Date. Ben asked and remembered Julie and Yuma. Issei. Excuse me, this is all we have, we will pay you for the damages some other time, I assure you, I said. Ben and I paid the cotton candy seller and took 4 cotton candy, 2 blue and 2 pink, and we went back to Julie and Yuma. Yuma. Where the hell have you been? We were worried, Yuma said annoyed. Issei. Sorry, there was a huge line near the cotton candy and that's why Ben and I took so long. I said lying to the fallen angel. Julie. Issei, there's no one here apart from us. Julie said annoyed. Ben. Except in this place, there were a lot of people there. Ben said lying. Julie. I thought you were gone. Julie said. Ben. Julie, Issei and I would never do that. Ben said. Yuma. Well, because you 2 brought cotton candy we forgive you, I asked Kurosa. Yuma said he picked pink cotton candy and we ate it. 5 minutes later, we get to a jet fighter simulator and I know which ship is going to come take it and make life difficult for Ben and I. Julie. Looks fun. Julie said. Ben. Especially if you can handle the G-forces and the urge to throw up. Ben said, without knowing which ship began to merge with a jet fighter. Yuma, don't you want to get on, because of that, Ben? Yuma asked and 2 people came out of the jet fighter. Ben. No, it's not that, I'm just saying it wasn't good to eat those burgers. Ben said and we saw how the ship merged with the jet fighter. Issei. Oh, come on, I said annoying. Yuma. What's wrong? Yuma asked and I whispered in Yuma's ear what's happening and she nodded. Julie. Is something wrong? Julie asked. Ben. It's okay, maybe we should wait. Ben said lying. Julie. Ben, Issei, are you hiding something? Julie asked suspiciously. Issei. No, there are no secrets, Ben and I are like open books, we are normal fools. I said lying and I gestured with my finger to Yuma so that he would follow along with me. Ben. Here we go again. Ben said when he saw the ship like a jet fighter. Yuma. Run, said Yuma, and the 4 of us fled to avoid being chased by the ship and Yuma and Julie were locked in the dock maintenance room to keep them safe and we had no choice but to activate the Omnitrix to transform. Ben. This is a job for Jet Ray. Ben said. Issei. Well, I buck Frankenstrick. I said and Ben looked at me with a strange face. Then. Frankenstrick? Ben asked, since before Frankenstrick was called Ben Victor. Issei. The alien form you obtained from Drive. Victor, in my world they call it Frankenstrick. I said to Ben and it became clear to him, and just when Ben was going to hit the Omnitrix, the ship made the ground shake and Jet Ray's hologram was replaced by brainstorms and we transformed into said aliens. Issei Frankenstrick I screamed like Frankenstrick. Then brainstorm, I'm not Jet Ray, I'm a plate of seafood and apparently one with a great intellect. Ben said. Issei Frankenstrick, brainstorm can do, Ben, both Frankenstrick and brainstorm are aliens with electrical powers. I said to Ben. Then brainstorm, okay, then, brainstorm Ben shouted like brainstorm and he and I went to fight against the ship and he saw us and tried to attack us and Ben fell on his back to the ground and I picked them up. Issei Frankenstrick are you okay Ben? I asked my best friend. Then brainstorm, yes, thanks for asking. Ben said and launched an electric burst from his brainstorm at the ship and I did the same and launched a beam towards the ship to knock it down and the mechamorph counterattacked by launching laser beams but Ben created an electric shield to protect the two of us and it almost hit him. Yuma and Julie, but Ben used brainstorm's powers to put them safe and we launched a double electric burst at the ship but it fell to the ground and along with it, a carousel fell into the water. Issei Frankenstrick, problem solved. I said, but I know that this is not over yet. Then brainstorm, about time, I'd say. Ben said and we went to the bathrooms to transform back into humans to prevent Julie from getting suspicious and Ben and I returned to the girls. Issei. Hey, did we miss something? I asked. Julie. What? Wait, did you see that? Julie asked, surprised to see the damage caused by the ship. Then. See what? Ben asked and out of the water came a ship merged with the carousel. Yuma. Oh my god Yuma said. Julie. What is that? Julie asked, scared, and Nave ended up kidnapping her and just when she was going to use her phone to call help, it fell out of her hands and broke. Julie. Ben, Issei, Yuma, Sakura Julie shouted for us to save her and Nave almost hit us with a seat and luckily we dodged it and Ben almost fell into the water if it weren't for me and Yuma saving him at the last second and Nave escapes with Julie and takes her with him. Azazel. Ben. Julie, no Ben shouted when he saw that the girl he liked was being kidnapped by a Galvano mechamorph. Issei. Worst double date of my life I said. Yuma. We have to go help Julie before that thing hurts her. Yuma said and we nodded and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Jet Ray and Stinkfly while Yuma took out his fallen angel wings. Then Jet Ray, Issei Stinkfly. The three of us flew to the place and saw the ship taking Julie to Azazel. Yuma. Ben, don't shoot, you could hurt Julie. Yuma said. Then Jet Ray, well, we'll get closer. Ben said. Issei Stinkfly, good idea. I said and Ben and I shot with our powers at the flashlights to block the way to the ship while Yuma threw spears of light to distract him and we succeeded but one of the seats hit Ben and made him fall to the ground and he saw that ship he wasn't there but he heard Julie's voice and the three of us headed to where Azazel's ship was and we saw the ship. Then Jet Ray, what have you done with Julie? Ben asked, angry and ready to shoot the ship and just when Yuma and I were going to do the same, Julie came out from behind the ship. Julie. I'm here and how do you know my name? And how does Yuma have wings? Julie asked, great, she uncovered the cake and it was time to tell her the whole truth. Yuma. Great, we've been discovered, guys. Yuma said and the three of us went down to the ground. Then Jet Ray, Julie, don't be afraid, it's me I'm Ben and the fly alien is Issei. Ben said to Julie. Issei Stinkfly, it's us, we assure you. I said. Julie. Are you monsters? Julie asked. Issei Stinkfly, aliens, more like and Yuma is a fallen angel and she and I come from another world apart from this one. I said to Julie. Julie. Great Julie said and to our surprise, Ben and I transformed back. Yuma. Great. You're not scared or anything? Yuma asked and Julie shook her head and we heard Nave trying to tell us something. Ben. Excuse me, we're talking. Ben A. Nave said. Julie. Ben, Issei, I think he's trying to tell us something. Julie said and Nave pointed us to where Azazel's ship was and we followed him until we reached the ship and saw Azazel. Ben. Wait, I've seen that thing before. Ben said referring to his transformation updater. Julie. Really? Julie asked. Issei. Yes, Ben used to transform into an alien called an upgrader who had the power to improve technology. I said to Julie. Yuma. We have to go help him said Yuma and we saw on Azazel's computer there was a countdown and that it was about to explode and from behind a ship appeared to us spurring at Ben like a kitten. Author's note. Ship is called Nave in the Spanish dubbing, sorry for those of you who are confused. Ben. Are you behind all this? Ben A. Nave asked. Issei. Well, ship, you ask us to come here to help Azazel, right? I asked the Mechamorph pet and he jumped telling us yes. Yuma. Guys, hurry up, it's going to explode, Yuma said, and Ben and I transformed into human Gausaur and 4 arms. Then human Gausaur. Issei 4 arms. Ben and I went inside Azazel's ship and we removed the explosive engine from the ship and threw it into the sky and it exploded into 1,000 pieces and Julie and Yuma went to help Azazel to see if he had any injuries, which luckily I didn't have one. Julie. Are you okay? Julie asked and Azazel nodded. Azazel. Yes, well, as I said. Before losing consciousness, I took out this organism you call a ship. Thanks, and you turned it off to call nearby plumbers. Azazel said. Julie. Was there a leak? Julie asked. Then human Gausaur. No, plumbers are intergalactic police. Ben said, correcting Julie. Issei 4 arms, we'll explain it to you later. I said. Yuma. And that's why the ship was chasing Ben and Issei. Yuma said. Azazel. Of course, you didn't receive the signal. Azazel asked. Then human Gausaur, you mean the beeps? Ben said. Azazel. Yes, the beeps, you don't know how it works. Azazel asked. Issei 4 arms, he doesn't, but I do. I said. Yuma. You knew all this time and you didn't tell us. Yuma shouted, enraged and going into ogre mode. Azazel. So you're not plumbers? Azazel asked. Then human Gausaur, no, I thought you were. Ben said. Azazel. I've spent my whole life here, is there anyone I can talk to? Azazel asked. Issei 4 arms, I don't believe it. I said. Julie. That's why Nave tried to get your attention. Julie said and Ben and I transformed back into humans. Yuma. Yes, but in a somewhat abrupt way, if I'm honest. Yuma said. Azazel. Well, I needed help. Azazel said. Ben. I think that was obvious. Ben said. Azazel. And Earthlings are wondering why aliens communicate with livestock now, if you excuse me, I need to fix my ship. Azazel said. Julie. Come on, we have to help you. Julie said. Yuma. After all, you are related. Yuma said. Julie. Can we help with anything? Julie asked. Azazel. Well, I think so. Azazel said and we helped him repair his ship and after 5 minutes we were done. Azazel. Very good, it's time to leave, goodbye. Azazel said and Ben noticed that the ship was still here. Then. Wait, what's up with this? Doesn't it return to your body or something? Ben asked when he saw that the ship was still here. Azazel. Of course not, that's not how it works, besides, you guys have had a nice relationship, it's yours now. Azazel said and he left Earth in the spaceship and his ship started caressing my leg like a kitten. Yuma. He's adorable, well, for an alien, sure. Yuma said. Julie. Are you going to keep it? Julie asked, but we shook our heads, since Nave would be better off with Julie, and now we had to walk back home, and Ben and Julie were in for a lecture from their parents and a punishment, while Yuma and I had nothing to worry about, since my parents are in my natal dimension and Yuma never talked about her parents, except that her mother is dead and that she died murdered at the hands of her father. Julie. You know what? I don't enjoy this part of the date. Julie said. Ben. Yeah, I'm sorry, we could fly home, but after so many changes, the Omnitrix needs to recharge. Ben said. Yuma. And I can't fly carrying a lot of weight, sorry. Yuma said. Issei. Now it's time to walk for our displeasure. I said. Julie. Well, it doesn't matter, Ben and I will be grounded for a month after arriving so late, and according to what Issei and Yuma told me, Issei's parents are in their birth dimension, while Yuma doesn't have anyone because his father killed to his mother. Julie said. Issei. Well, there will be no other choice than to ask one of the passing cars to take us to Bellwood. I said and we walked back to Bellwood, holding hands, and I must admit that I like the way Yuma's hand felt and that it's very warm and that for some strange reason, I'm blushing. Maybe I've fallen in love with him, Yuma and she about me. Back at the pier, Hiro and Hikari have arrived at the pier and noticed that there were police cars all over the place and that there were officers in uniforms investigating whatever happened. Hiro. Definitely, this was the work of the ship and that our parents have been here. Hiro said. Hikari. Yes, and if I remember correctly, that's where Kenny's parents had their first date and I know they received help from mom and dad, right, Ani-sama? Hikari said to his brother. Hiro. Hikari, that's not relevant now. Hiro said to his little sister. Hikari. Well, it seems romantic to me that Kenny's parents received help from dad and mom to fall in love. Hikari said. Hiro. If you say so, come on, let's go. Hiro said to his little sister. Hikari. Can't we stay a little longer, Ani-sama? Hikari asked his brother. Hiro. Don't argue, Hikari, besides, I'm the oldest of us, I'm 18 and you're 13. Hiro said and the brothers left to go to Bellwood to continue with a mission of protecting their parents' future. Hikari. At least they gave you a name that is the short version of your full name, Ani-sama. Hikari said. Hiro. Mom and dad called me Hyoudou, but everyone calls me Hiro and they gave you grandma's name. Hiro said to his sister. Hikari. At least my name means light and it's a prettier name than Hyoudou. Hikari said and Hiro pulled his little sister's ear. Hiro. Come on, Hiro said, and he and Hikari left for Bellwood. Chapter 08. Emotional sorrows getting to know Verdona. POV Issei. It was me, Ben, Gwen, Kevin and Yuma at a lake where Max used to go fishing with his grandchildren when Ben and Gwen were kids, and Gwen was very depressed because she thought her grandfather was dead, but I know he's in the void facing the Dr. Animo, and Yuma was together with her to comfort her. Then, Kevin and I were challenging each other to show who's better. Kevin absorbed a rock to cover his skin, while Ben transformed into Brainstorm, and I transformed into Frankenstrick. Then Brainstorm, Issei Frankenstrick, Kevin. Let's fix this, Tennyson and Hyoudou. Kevin said, preparing his fist. Then Brainstorm, my dear Kevin, your supposed great bravery is stronger than your ability to think, little friend. Ben said, but Kevin didn't understand anything. Ben said, how Brainstorm? Issei Frankenstrick, you mean, jump and surprise us. I said, translating to Kevin. Kevin. Okay, Bombago said. Kevin jumped into the water, but since he had absorbed rock, he made it heavier and almost wet Gwen and Yuma, but Ben and I used the powers of our respective electric aliens and evaporated the water. Then Brainstorm, oh, so you're trying to unsettle me before my Brainstorm stops working and Issei's conduits rust. Our intense electromagnetic charges are going to vaporize you, here Ben said, and threw a spark at Kevin into the water and sent him flying towards Yuma and Gwen. Yuma? Have you gone crazy? You almost hit us, Yuma Mosquito said, and Ben and I returned to our human forms. Issei. Sorry, Yuma, it wasn't our intention. I said, and we noticed how depressed Gwen was because she thinks about Max and that she thinks he's dead. Ben. Gwen misses Grandpa. Ben said. Kevin. In the car it was fine. Kevin said. Issei, well, it didn't seem like it, Kevin. I said. Ben. It's my fault, I thought that by bringing her here she would cheer up. Ben said. Yuma. Apparently it didn't help. Yuma said. Gwen. It's the secret rock that Grandpa used to fish, he used to come here all the time when he wasn't traveling. Gwen said. Kevin. The business of plumbers. Kevin said. Gwen. We didn't know before. But when I was 5 years old he brought me here and I caught a tiny fish, he wanted me to let him go, but I didn't want to, he was my fish, you know. Gwen said, remembering her time with Max. Issei, we understand, Gwen. I said. Gwen. Grandpa convinced me to come for him when he was older and I'll never forget it. Gwen said and threw a stone she had in her hand into the lake. Yuma. I know how you feel, Gwen, I miss my mother, and let's say that my childhood was not very good because of my father, and it hurts me to remember that moment. Yuma said, thinking about his late mother. Issei. I miss my grandfather Juzo Hyoudou too, and let's say he was the reason why I ended up being a pervert at my school. I said, remembering my grandfather, and Ben noticed that there was Ben. Hey, look at this. Ben said so we could see Verdona. Yuma. Well, there are a lot of people around here to be secret. Yuma said and saw that she left a pink and yellow flower near the tree. Gwen. Have you seen a flower like that, guys? Gwen asked. Kevin. Hey, you, the one with the cape, Kevin shouted, and the 5 of us went to the tree, but Verdona used her anodite powers and left, and we saw that there were more of the mana flowers that she had left on the tree, and we saw that a heart was carved on the tree with the names Max and Verdona. Ben. That woman disappeared. Ben said. Kevin. Teleportation maybe. Kevin said. Issei. I doubt it. I said. Gwen. What were you doing? Gwen asked. Yuma. Maybe what's carved on the tree can help us. Yuma said and Ben put his hand on the tree. Ben. Max and Verdona, who is Verdona? Asked Ben, who doesn't know that Verdona is his paternal grandmother. Issei. No idea. I said, lying, and Gwen picked up the flower in her hand and used her mana to track Verdona, but the flower ended up withering. Gwen. I thought she was good. Gwen said, and Yuma and I saw the pile of flowers on the ground. Issei. Well, it's not the first flower he left here, there are like 10 here. I said when I saw the withered mana flowers. Kevin. So what? We can't wait for her to come back. Kevin said. Yuma, I'm afraid so, Kevin. Yuma said, and we put our clothes back on, and when night came, we waited in Kevin's car, and Ben was touching the open and close button of the car, and Kevin ended up pissed off, and Gwen needed to use the toilet since she couldn't stand it. Gwen. Guys, I need to go to the bathroom. Gwen said. Kevin. There are many trees. Kevin said. Yuma. Be gentler, Kevin. Yuma said, and Gwen got out of the car. Gwen. There's a gas station a few miles back. Gwen said. Kevin. I'll take you. Kevin said. Yuma. No, keep an eye on it, Gwen, and I will be back. Yuma said, and she and Gwen went to the gas station, and Ben was going to continue bothering Kevin, but I went to Verdona to get his attention. Then. Guys, look, I said, and we saw Verdona return to the tree to leave another man a flower, and we went out to confront her. Then. How do you know Max Tennyson? Annoyed, Ben asked his grandmother, and Kevin took off his hood to reveal his face. Kevin. Answer. Kevin said. Verdona. What bad boys, go, Verdona said, and used her mana powers on us and started flying away, and Ben and I decided to activate our Omnitrix and transformed into Jet Ray and XLR8 respectively. Then Jet Ray, Issei XLR8, XLR8. The two of us started chasing Verdona, while Kevin absorbed a metal from his car to cover his skin. Verdona. A chase. They hadn't chased me in years. Verdona said, and continued to escape from Ben and I, but we increased our speed to the maximum to catch up with her and got in front of her. Issei XLR8, end of the journey, I said, but Verdona passed me by, but Ben launched a laser beam from her tail to stop her, but Verdona escaped without a single scratch, not knowing that Kevin was behind her and held her back. Kevin. Answer, ma'am, the game is over. Kevin said. Verdona. Not until I put away my toys, love. Verdona said, and manifested tentacles of mana to hold Kevin and sent him flying towards me, and I fell into the lake in pain and taking me out of my transformation. Then Jet Ray, who are you? Ben asked, and just when Ben was going to shoot his grandmother, she used her powers to block the attack, and Ben fell into the lake also coming out of his transformation. Issei. Oh, what a pain. I said. Verdona. This world would be more tolerable without troublemakers like you getting in my way. Verdona said, preparing to attack us. Kevin. Oh yeah? Show us what you have, Kevin said, and just when Verdona was going to deliver the coup de grace to me, Ben and Kevin, Gwen and Yuma, appeared to save us with a mana dome to save us, and upon seeing that, Verdona was surprised and noticed that it was Gwen who projected the dome. Gwen. We can't leave you alone for 2 minutes or what? Gwen asked, annoyed. Yuma. Yes, and without starting a fight like animals, Yuma said, annoyed, and Verdona approached Gwen. Verdona. Do it again. Verdona said, and Gwen projected a burst of mana to attack her, and Yuma threw a spear of light, but Verdona blocked both attacks with ease. Verdona. Incredible. Verdona said, surprised. Gwen. Who do you think you are, filling my grandfather's favorite place with garbage? Gwen asked, annoyed. Kevin. It's not trash, it's flowers that provide energy. Kevin said. Gwen. I can't believe it. Gwen said, surprised. Yuma. Incredible. Yuma said, and Verdona approached us. Verdona. I heard you said Max is your grandfather. Verdona said, and Gwen nodded. Issei. Well, yes, he is the truth. I said, and Verdona hugged her granddaughter. Verdona. What a pleasure, Verdona said happily. Ben. He was my grandfather too. Ben said, and Verdona turned around. Verdona. Seriously, can you project energy like your sister? Verdona asked, but Ben and Gwen are cousins and not siblings. Issei. Ben and Gwen are cousins, and no, Ben doesn't have that power. I said to Verdona. Verdona. Too bad. Gwendolyn, I'm Verdona, we'll talk later, and with you too, grandson of Juzo Hyoudou. Verdona said and disappeared, but how does Verdona know about my grandfather Juzo? First Max knows about him and now Verdona. This makes no bucking sense. Yuma. If that woman is Verdona, that means, Yuma said, but Ben interrupted her, and it was what everyone thought it was. Ben. I think we met our grandma. Ben said. Yuma. But didn't your grandmother die before you two were born? Yuma asked, confused. Gwen. That's what my parents told me, not even my brother Ken ever met her. Gwen said. Kevin. But there is another thing that doesn't convince me, what he knows about your grandfather, Issei. Kevin said. Issei, I don't know either, but maybe someone from your family can help you, Gwen. I said to Gwen. Ben. Why not with Uncle Frank, Gwen's father? Ben suggested that Gwen talk to her father, Frank Tennyson, the brother of Ben's father, Carl Tennyson. Gwen. I could try. Gwen said, and we went to her house so she could talk to her father in her room, while me, Ben, Kevin and Yuma hid on the roof of her house. Gwen. Dad, we need to talk. Gwen said to her father. Frank. In your room? What a great honor, when was the last time you let me in there? Frank asked his daughter and locked the door. Gwen. I have to tell you a big secret, Dad. Magic powers. Gwen said to her father and showing him her collection of magical artifacts. Frank. And you're a magician in training, daughter. Come on, Gwen, there's no such thing as that. Frank said. Gwen. But there's more, are you ready? Gwen asked, and she projected a tentacle of mana to close the drawer under his bed, and Frank was surprised by that revelation, since he and his wife Natalie feared that that day would have arrived. Frank. It's a big secret. Frank said. Gwen. I met my grandma Verdona today. Gwen said to her father. Frank. I was afraid that day would come, but you showed no signs of having powers, your mother, and I thought you were safe. Frank said. Gwen. Is the magic in the family? I knew it, Gwen said happily, but she's wrong about the magic. Frank. Love, there's no such thing as magic, your grandma's an alien. Frank said, and Gwen sat down before such a revelation. Gwen. Okay, now I'm full of questions, but first, guys, I know you're there, come in. Gwen said, and the four of us went inside. Ben, hello Uncle Frank. Ben said, greeting his uncle. Kevin, how are you sir? I'm Kevin Levin. Kevin greeted. Issei. I am Issei Hyoudou. I said, introducing myself to Gwen's father. Yuma. My name is Yuma Mono. Yuma said. Frank. Who is he, your boyfriend? Frank asked, and that alarmed Gwen and Kevin and they denied it, but his blushing faces said otherwise. Gwen. This is what happens. My grandmother, who I didn't know, wants something from me, but I don't know what it is. Gwen said. Frank. Let's ask her, your friends aren't the only ones who spy on people, right, Mom? Frank said, and Verdona appeared in front of us and apparently she heard the whole conversation. Verdona. I'm always watching you, love, I was hoping you or Carl would have the skill, but I had no luck. Verdona said, and she teleported us to the living room and we saw Natalie, Gwen's mother, cleaning a vase, and when she saw us appear teleported, she accidentally dropped the vase and saw who else was next to us, her hateful mother-in-law Verdona. Natalie. Verdona, but what a surprise. Natalie said to Verdona, and from her voice you can tell that she and her mother-in-law don't get along very well, and we saw how Verdona used her powers to rebuild the shattered vase and leave it like new, and we were all surprised to see that. Verdona. Tea, dear, and something sweet for the children. Verdona said, and Natalie came 10 minutes later with tea and cookies, and Verdona started to tell us her story. Frank. I missed you, Mom. Frank said to his mother. Verdona. I guess, in human time. Love, your grandmother is an anodite and so are you. Verdona said. Gwen. What is an anodite? Gwen asked. Yuma, I think it has to do with your powers, Gwen. Yuma said. Verdona. Your friend is right, Gwen, we anodites are a race of free spirits with powers that humans can't understand and we don't mess with the business of normal people, but I fell deeply in love with Max Tennyson. Verdona said, telling us her story about how she met Max, but that doesn't answer my question about how Max and Verdona know about my grandfather Juzo Hyoudou. Yuma. Wow, what a love story. Yuma said, surprised. Kevin. And he abandoned him. Kevin said, and Ben elbowed him for being rude and he received a slap from Yuma. Issei, don't be an idiot, Kevin. I said to the Ismotion. Verdona. No, it's just that after Frank and Carl grew up and left home, I needed to reconnect with my anodized heritage and Max was busy saving the universe with the plumbers. Verdona said. Frank. Dad thought you didn't know. Frank said. Verdona. Yes, he didn't want me to worry, good man, we had very good years but we grew apart, even if someone charges Max with mana, he will continue to be that way all his life. Verdona said. Ben. What is mana? Ben asked, and Verdona used his powers and covered Ben's mouth with duct tape, and me too, how angry. Yuma. Shut up, you're prettier. Yuma said, giggling. Verdona. What happened to your grandfather was big news, it even came to my planet, that's why I went to Earth to remember good times. Who would think I'd find an anodite there? Gwendolyn, you'd be surprised what you can do, let me teach you how to control your energy, that's what mana is. Verdona said and removed the tape from Ben and I's mouths. Issei. I was almost going to suffocate. I said. Gwen. I want to learn, how do we start? Gwen asked her grandmother. Verdona. At Anodyne, stop living that silly life and come with me and join the party. Verdona said, and that alarmed us all. Gwen. Go. But this is wow, this is very big. Mom, Dad, what do I do? Gwen asked her parents. Frank. I don't know, it's an opportunity I never had. Frank said. Natalie. We always hoped you'd leave my family's side, but do what makes you happy. Natalie said to her daughter. Frank, we won't get in the way, Gwen. Frank said, but Kevin didn't like it at all, and neither did I, but since this is Gwen's family thing, this is not my business. Gwen. Won't you? Gwen asked. Verdona. Then it's settled, come on, love. Verdona said, but Gwen decided to go and think alone on the roof about what her grandmother was proposing, and Kevin, Ben, Yuma and I went next to her and saw her sitting on the roof. The roof. Kevin. Gwen, don't go on the roof, some of us can't fly, you know. Kevin said. Issei. Kevin, we have to support her. I said. Gwen. I didn't expect my day to go like this. Gwen said. Ben. Still, it was really nice to know about your powers and stuff, right? Grandma can't teach you everything she does. Ben said. Gwen. I'd be gone for a long time, I guess. Gwen said. Yuma. Maybe forever. Yuma said. Gwen. I always felt like an outsider, like I was in the wrong place, but then I thought it was just high school. Gwen said. Ben. We'll miss you if you're going. Ben said. Yuma. And me. Yuma said. Gwen. Really? Gwen asked. Issei. Yes, but we will be able to recruit more and more plumber kids and we will still be a powerful team. I said and Gwen thought sadly at what I said. Then. When Issei and I were actually thinking about using our powers again, you told us it was our option, that's all I'm telling you. Ben said. Yuma. Yes, and when I joined the group after all the atrocities I committed against you in the past, especially Issei, you accepted me although it took a while with Issei, and you became my first friends who really cared about me. Yuma said about how she never had friends when she was still bad and it shows that she regrets everything she did. Ben. And I think you can become a great master of mana. Ben said. Gwen. Maybe. Gwen said. Yuma. I think it's a unique opportunity. Yuma said. Gwen. Kevin, do you think the same? Gwen asked Kevin. Kevin. No, why would I think the same? I want you to stay, all this is absurd Kevin said, annoyed, since he doesn't want Gwen to leave, and Gwen hugged him and kissed his cheek. Gwen came down from the roof and will tell her grandmother that she won't go with her to Anodyne and everyone but me, we came down from the roof, since I need to know why Max and Verdona know my grandfather Juzo. Issei. How do Max and Verdona know my grandfather Juzo? This makes no sense. I said and looked frustrated at the starry sky. Issei. Grandpa, what do I do, what have you been hiding from my parents and me all these years? I need an answer. I said and I know that there is no point in arguing with the sky, since I will talk to Verdona to find out and I decided to go down and I saw that Gwen had already told her grandmother that she would not go to Anodyne with her and she took off her human disguise and left her true Anodite form exposed. Verdona. See, just a disguise and this is being an Anodite. Verdona said. Yuma. Wow, you don't see that every day. Yuma said. Natalie. That's why it looks so good. Natalie said. Verdona. Ripe anodites are pure energy, we draw life from the mana that surrounds us. Verdona said. Ben. You gotta admit, that sounds pretty good. Ben said. Issei. On the contrary, Ben, it's not. I said. Verdona. You are too young to make the decision, let me help you destroy your body, and I will release the anodite that you have inside, it will be fun, and you will be able to think much more clearly. Verdona said and that alarmed us all. Yuma. Destroy her body, has she gone crazy? Yuma asked and yes, I must admit, that sounds like total madness. Gwen. Destroying my body, is it a joke? Gwen asked annoyed. Verdona. How do you know if you will like something if you don't try it? Verdona asked. Issei. Verdona, Gwen told us no, I said I annoy the anodite. Verdona. Do you want another fight? Good, but only this Verdona said and she attacked us with a burst of mana, sending us outside. Verdona. Now, this is what I call a party. Verdona said and threw another burst of mana at us, but Gwen protected us with a mana dome, and Yuma prepared a spear of light to fight, and Verdona dodged Gwen and Yuma's attacks, and Kevin absorbed the rock from the ground to cover his skin, and threw rocks towards Verdona to hurt him and Ben, and I activate our Omnitrix and transform into Spidermonkey and Arctiguana respectively. Then Spidermonkey, Issei Arctiguana. Verdona attacked Gwen and Yuma to make them hit a wall, but Ben threw a spiderweb to prevent that, and I threw an ice ray towards Verdona to freeze her, and I managed to freeze her feet. But she broke free and threw Kevin into the air, and Ben she used a mana sphere from Gwen, and threw it towards Verdona with a slingshot made of spiderwebs, and made it hit the ground, and I threw another ice beam at her to stun her. Gwen threw more bursts of mana, and then she kicked her grandmother, and then Ben and Yuma hit Verdona with a right hook to make her fall to the ground again, and just when Kevin and I were going to hit her, the two of us stopped. Issei Arctiguana, Kevin, stop I said to Kevin. Kevin. Dude, I don't know if I can hit your grandma. Kevin said. Then Spidermonkey, okay, we teach him how to control his mana. Said good making a bad joke. Verdona. Good, Ben. Verdona said. Yuma and Kevin. It wasn't the two of them said, annoyed, and we saw how Verdona broke free of the spiderwebs and began to absorb the mana from the plants that were all over the neighborhood. Gwen. She gets mana from millions of things around her. Gwen said. Issei Arctiguana, the grass I said and Verdona became completely energized. Verdona. I really enjoy it, but I should go out more often Verdona said, and she trapped Ben and me in spiderwebs to leave us immobilized and threw Yuma towards a fence. Verdona. No more games, love, everything will end in a second. Verdona said and Gwen threw a burst of mana at her, but Verdona blocked it with her hair and then brought Gwen close to her. Verdona. One day you will learn to make a body the way you want. Verdona said and Gwen got fed up. Gwen. Listen to me, I won't go with you, I love having powers, but I prefer my life, I love fighting monsters and saving the world. Gwen said to her grandmother. Verdona. The Anodite save many people and you can use your powers however you want after you master them in 60 or 70 years. Verdona said. Gwen. It's more than that. I like swimming, going to school and breaking things with my hands, running and feeling tired after that, kissing guys. How about those good mornings you had with grandpa? Gwen asked her grandmother to make her see reason. Verdona. Oh, I was just a girl having fun, but believe me, adult parties are the best. Verdona said. Gwen. Grandma Verdona, admit it, you miss him and you miss Max, that's what brought you here. Gwen said to her grandmother. Verdona. Max must have been like us, he had his own spark in him, he was an adventurer, he was troublesome, he was a lot like your little friend Curtis. Verdona asked Kevin and called him wrong because of his name. Kevin. I'm Kevin, Kevin said, correcting Verdona. Verdona. The energy has spoken. Verdona said. Gwen. No, your energy, I am a girl. Gwen said, and apparently Verdona finally came to her senses. Verdona. Maybe I've forgotten what it is, but what I offer you is better, imagine how many powers you would have. Verdona asked, trying to continue persuading Gwen. Gwen. I like powers, but I love my friends and family, I won't go with you, Grandma. Gwen said to her grandmother. Verdona. No, I don't think you will. Verdona said, finally coming to her senses, and she and Gwen returned to the ground. Verdona. Well, it's been a very nice day, but Mom has to go. Verdona said. Yuma. How did you do that? Yuma asked, surprised. Issei. Magic, I guess. I said. Verdona. You can come with me and find out. Verdona said. Gwen. Yes, but no. Gwen said. Verdona. I had to try it. Verdona said and lifted Ben, Kevin and I off the ground, and then Frank and Natalie approached. Issei. Thank you. I said to Verdona. Verdona. Goodbye everyone, and Ben, good way to defend your cousin, you're doing very well. Verdona said to her grandson. Ben. You too, Grandma. Ben said. Verdona. And Issei, it shows that you are like your grandfather Juzo, you have his courage and the same motivation as him to do the right thing. Verdona said. Issei. How can you and Max know about my grandfather? I am from another world. I said to Verdona. Verdona. We Anodites are aware of the existence of other worlds, and your grandfather was the first to discover it, Issei, and let's say that me, Max and Juzo knew each other a long time ago. Verdona said, but I still have several questions. Verdona. And don't forget to have fun, Gwen, Grandma will come by from time to time to check on you. Verdona said, and Gwen's mother didn't like what she had heard just now. Natalie. That's great. Natalie said, annoyed, and Verdona left back to Anodyne, and we found a mana flower on the ground. Issei. A mana flower. I said, picking the flower. Gwen. Come on, I know where this is going. Gwen said, and we went to the lake to leave the flower on the tree, where Max and Verdona had their names carved, and we went back home, and Yuma put his head on my shoulder, and I liked how he felt. POV Akeno. I was coming back from the doctor after injuring my right hand in gym class, and I saw Rias watching Issei's DVDs with the entire first season of Ben 10 Alien Force on TV in her room, and I noticed that she was wearing Ben 10's t-shirt on the first series and carried Issei's limited edition Omnitrix. Akeno. Rias, is it just me or are you watching Ben 10 Alien Force and wearing Issei's limited edition Omnitrix? I asked my best friend when I saw that she was watching Issei's favorite childhood series. Rias. It's not so bad, how come I've missed such a great series my whole life? It's incredible, I have to show it to my nephew Milikas. Rias said excitedly and started watching episode 8 of season 1, the episode where Ben and Gwen meet his grandmother Verdona. Akeno. I noticed that you finished the entire original series, Rias, and you also watched a live-action movie that many hate. I said. Rias. Yes, although some scenes could have been better, it's a good movie. Rias said. Akeno. And you wore them the entire weekend without leaving your room, I'm impressed. I said, and we noticed that not only Issei appears in the episode, but also Rainer. Rias. What is Rainer doing here, and so is Issei? Rias asked, surprised to see that not only the fallen angel who made Issei's life hell appears, but Issei himself as well. Akeno. It sucks that this is Azazel's work. Me said, and Rias and I went to the occult club, and we saw Azazel working on a huge machine, and we saw that there was the gamer helmet, the object that caused us problems last month, and we went in at the same time very pissed off. Rias and Akeno. Azazel, what did you do this time? Rias and I asked angrily. Azazel. Oh, damn it, Azazel said. Chapter 09. Troublesome Glove. Ben Issei vs Cash. POV Issei. Ben, Gwen, Kevin, Yuma and I were in an abandoned factory fighting against a roofed robot that was making our lives somewhat impossible, and we watched as the robot shot Kevin in the shoulder. Issei. Kevin, are you okay? I asked the emotion. Kevin. Yes, a little. Kevin said, and we saw that Gwen and Yuma had a difficult time against the robot, and not even the light spears could break the robot's armor. Gwen. There are problems. Gwen said. Yuma. Do you think so? My spears of light don't make a scratch, Yuma said. Gwen. Ben, Issei, are you still a long way from transforming? Gwen asked. Ben. We need a second. Ben said, trying to activate his Omnitrix, and I tried the same with mine. Gwen. We'll see what we can do. Gwen said and locked the robot in a monodome, but he destroyed it with his huge mechanical hands. Yuma. Great, this just made our situation worse. Ben, Issei, transform once and for all, Yuma said as he threw more spears towards the robot and Gwen tried to hold him back. Issei. It's almost there, I said, and Kevin absorbed more material from the ground to deal a blow to the robot, but it didn't do anything, but he managed to make the robot retreat and the aforementioned machine grabbed Kevin and tried to kill him with his hands when trying to crush his bones. Gwen. Let it go, Gwen said, and she cut off the robot's right hand with a burst of mana and we saw the severed hand still clutched in Kevin's body. The robot, seeing that his right hand was cut off, decided to take revenge. Yuma. This is not good. Yuma said and heard that Ben's Omnitrix and mine finally activated. Ben. Okay, ready to fight, Ben said, selecting an alien. Issei. I already have in mind which one I'll use. Said me, choosing an alien to transform me. Kevin. The suspense is killing me, Kevin said, trying to free himself from the robot's hand, and the aforementioned machine appeared in front of him and Ben and I hid our Omnitrixes and transformed into Goop and Wildveen respectively. Then Goop. Issei. Wildveen. Yuma. Seriously, a two-legged booger and a plant? Yuma asked, not surprised. Then Goop. What? Goop is great. Ben said. Issei. Wildveen, yes, but Wildveen is too, I said, and we started fighting the Tekkadan robot and he tried to hit Ben with his left hand, but because Goop is slimy, it didn't hurt him much and being distracted, Then Goop. Well done, Issei, now leave it to me, Ben said, and the two of us kicked the robot out and saw that he tried to recreate the right hand that Gwen cut off earlier, and I know we can't let that happen, and Ben had an idea. Issei. Wildveen, Ben, try to get inside the robot and make it explode from the inside while I distract it with my grenades. I said to Ben and he nodded and we put our plan in motion and Ben got inside the Tekkadan robot and I threw grenades at him without stopping and just when the robot was going to crush me with its foot, it stayed still and green mucus came out of its body from Goop and with the pressure, the robot exploded into 1,000 pieces and Ben's mucus was stuck all over our body and Yuma was the one who was the most disgusted. Yuma. Yuck, I know I'll have to take a shower, but one that lasts hours, Yuma said, removing the green mucus all over his body. Issei. Wildveen, it's no big deal, Yuma. I said to the fallen angel and I transformed back. Yuma. Liar. Yuma said. Gwen. Ben, get off us. Gwen said, disgusted. Yuma. Especially me, I smell like a sower. Yuma said. Ben Goop, sorry. Ben said and collected all the green mucus with his UFO shape and recomposed himself and then transformed back. Issei. That was great, Ben, like old times. I said to Ben and we high-fived each other. Yuma. I hope that by old times you don't mean when I stabbed you with a spear of light on our first date, that Rias sent me to hell, and that you almost killed me in Chicago as a human Gaussor. Yuma said, remembering the beating he received in Chicago from me. Ben. Not that, Yuma, but when Issei and I faced the bad guys when we met. Ben said and Kevin picked up the robot's hand to put it in the trunk of his car, without knowing that the hand still worked. Kevin. Yes, of course, the important thing is that we finish with that thing. Kevin said and we went to Mr. Smoothie's to rest. Seeing the restaurant where Ben went with Gwen and Kevin to hang out is a dream come true, but I know those idiots Cash and JT are there to try to ruin Ben's day, that's why I went with him to be safe, let that not happen. Ben and I paid for 5 nectarine smoothies and we were going to drink them together with our friends. Ben. Hey, guys, there's nectarine smoothies for everyone. Ben said and I know that Cash and JT were going to make their move and I put myself in the middle. Issei. Watch out, Ben, idiot alert, I said, and I kicked Cash and JT in the ankle to make them fall to the ground and the people who were sitting at the tables near the entrance applauded me. Cash. Shit, Jider, that hurt, Cash said angrily. Ben. Cash and JT, it was to be expected. Ben said when he saw the 2 bullies at his school. JT. Hey, you, Hyoudou, how dare you do that to us? JT asked angrily, seriously, and that idiot used to be friends with Ben. Yes, he is an idiot. Issei. The same thing you were going to do to Ben, asshole duo. I said to JT. Cash. And what are you going to do about it, fools? Cash asked and just when she was going to hit me, Yuma threw a banana peel at her to make Cash fall on his ass to the ground and we kept laughing at them. Yuma. How funny it is to see that the bullies ended up being the humiliated ones. Yuma said happily. Cash. Both of you will pay me, Cash said, threatening us, and just when Ben wanted to transform, he decided to confront his tormentors. Ben. You know what? You two are not worth it. Said Ben to Cash and JT. Issei. Seriously, it's ridiculous, could you be original, Cash? I doubt it, since you're an idiot. I said to Cash. Ben. Issei's right, you were going to make the same prank on me from when we were in 2nd grade, Cash. It's boring, you always throw my drinks, but Issei stopped you this time. Ben said. Issei. I can't believe Ben was afraid of you. Look around you, Cash, we've grown up, but according to Ben, you're still the same marginalized loser who has to torment others to feel comfortable, so sad. I said me and Ben and I left. Uma. You're a couple of immature idiots, go eat shit, Uma said. JT. Hey, bitch, don't threaten us, JT said, and Cash cut him off, and upon hearing that, Uma punched the duo of bullies in the face, which left them with black eyes. Uma. Call me a slut again and I cut off my testicles and feed them to Trihiksa himself, understand? Uma shouted and spat in the face of the duo of bullies. 15 minutes later, we left Mr. Smoothies to go home and Gwen was happy for Ben and I about confronting Cash and JT. Gwen. I'm proud of you, Ben and Issei, not so much of Uma, you could have beaten those two, but Uma already did it for you. Gwen said. Uma. No one calls me a bitch and anyone who dares to say it, I'll kill him, Uma said angrily. Ben. Calm down, Uma. Ben said. Kevin. I would have finished them off. Kevin said. At night, Cash and JT were walking around the city and Cash was still angry about what happened at Mr. Smoothies and that Uma beat him up and swore revenge. JT. Dude, now they did beat you, and that Amano gave us a beating, and when Tennyson and Hyoudou said, JT said, but Cash interrupted him, very angry. Cash. Nobody does that to me, JT, ever, Tennyson, Hyoudou and Amano will pay me, I will return it to them and everyone will laugh at them, Cash shouted angrily, and JT noticed that Kevin's car was parked near a restaurant. JT. Hey, it's Kevin's car, JT said. Cash. Yes, and? Cash asked and JT had a bad idea. JT. If it were me, I would destroy it, let's leave Ben, Issei and Uma for later. JT said and he saw us sitting quietly eating in a restaurant. Cash. Continue. Cash said. JT. You ruined Kevin's car and everyone will know you're bad, the baddest in town, they'll talk about it for years. JT said and Cash liked the idea, not knowing what they would go through by damaging Kevin's car. The duo of bullies dragged Kevin's car out of the parking lot and luckily no one caught them and they drove the vehicle down a hill and that set off the alarm. JT. Dude, this is serious. JT said, surprised to see what Cash has done. Cash. Come on. Cash said and the two of them went down the hill and Cash silenced the alarm with a kick and they saw the things that came out of the trunk. JT. Look at all these strange things, can we sell them? JT asked and they didn't tell that we had seen what happened. Kevin. Hey, you guys, what did you do to my car? Kevin asked angrily and we went down to confront Cash and JT and they took the things from the trunk and went to his secret hiding place. Uma. I'm going to split their heads open with my spear when I see them, Uma said. Ben. They won't get very far, Ben said activating his Omnitrix, but Gwen stopped him. Gwen, no Ben. Gwen said. Ben. Gwen, Issei and I can fly, we'll find them. Ben said. Issei. And then what, tell them our secret. Like I told you, those cretins aren't worth it and they can't hide forever. I said to Ben. Meanwhile, with Cash and JT, they went to his hideout, an old mannequin factory, and Cash got angry with him when he saw that JT had only brought with him the Tekkadan robot glove. Cash. There were so many great things and you only bring that crap. Cash asked angrily when he saw the Tekkadan robot's hand. JT. I think it's great, it's like a glove, look. Behold the wonder of my new robot arm, JT said and he started making laser shooting sounds and by accident, he shot the ceiling and Cash liked it and then he put a few glass bottles for JT to shoot and Cash thought of taking it from his friend by force. Cash. Give it to me, Cash ordered. JT. I found it, JT said and Cash took the glove off of the beast and then put it on. Cash. Whoever finds it keeps it, it's mine, Cash said and fired and started laughing like a maniac. JT. Cash, are you okay? JT asked, worried about his friend. Cash. Oh yeah, this will scare Tennyson and Hyoudou, it'll be the last time they talk to me like that, Cash said very vengeful. JT. What a great joke, it wasn't a joke. JT said and he realized that Cash now wants to kill me and Ben. 1 hour later, JT saw Cash asleep in a chair and proceeded to take the Tekkadan glove off his hand and just when he was going to take it off, Cash woke up and JT fell on his ass to the floor frightened. Cash. I already told you he's mine, Cash said in a threatening tone to his best friend. The next day, Kevin was repairing his car after JT and Cash dropped it under a hill and Gwen and Uma were with him while Ben and I went buying smoothies. Kevin. I can't believe those fools dared to throw my car under a hill, Kevin said angrily and Ben and I were back. Ben. Were you here all night? Ben asked. Kevin. And I'm not moving until it's as good as new. Kevin said. Issei. Do you want help? I asked Kevin offering him my help. Kevin. Do you want to help me? Get out of here. Kevin said. Ben. Okay, Kevin, you're missing out, Ben said, and he and I left. Yuma. Weren't you a little harsh on them? Yuma asked. Kevin. What's up? Kevin said and took the smoothie that was for Gwen. Gwen. Still, I'm sorry about your car, Kevin, but you don't have to be like that with Issei and Ben. Gwen said and Kevin got disgusted with the smoothie. Kevin. Yuck, I think this has fruit. Kevin said and Gwen took the smoothie away from him. Kevin. Okay, yeah, I'll go get them. Kevin said and went to look for Ben and me, but suddenly JT appeared. JT. Where are Ben and Issei? I must warn you, something is wrong with Cash. JT said. Kevin. Cash, the one who damaged my car. Were you with him? Kevin asked irritably. JT. Well, it was actually his idea. JT said. Yuma. Oh yeah? Yuma asked, suspicious of JT. JT. Cash is looking for Ben and Issei, he says he will teach them a lesson. JT said. Kevin. I wouldn't worry about Ben and Issei, I would worry about your friend, tell me where he is. Kevin said. JT. At the old mannequin factory, we go there sometimes. It's okay, always. JT said. Kevin. I got it. Kevin said and he went to the mannequin factory to confront Cash. Gwen. Kevin, don't do anything silly, Gwen said, trying to stop Kevin, but I already know he left. Yuma. He never wants to pay attention, what can he do? Yuma said. Gwen. What happened to you, JT? In first year you and Ben ate glue together, you were nice, then you started hanging out with Cash. Gwen said. Yuma. Yes, why did you become friends with that asshole? Ben was your friend and you betrayed him by becoming friends with Cash. Now Issei came and makes you pay in the same coin, JT. Yuma said to JT. JT. Cash isn't that bad, I make him laugh and he always protects me. JT said, defending Cash. Yuma. Well, if abusing people and beating them up isn't being bad, that would make me a saint. Yuma said to JT, and remembering what he did to me the day I became Ria's pawn. Gwen. And you're both acting like fools. Gwen said. JT. Cash is Cash, what do you want from me? JT asked. Gwen. It seems to me that you have a lot of influence over him. Gwen said. JT. Enough for him to hit everyone and not hurt me. JT said. Yuma. It's the worst basis for a friendship, JT, you should be ashamed, you know. Yuma said to JT. JT. JT said, but Gwen interrupted him. Gwen. Why are you still here, if Cash is such a good guy, why aren't you with him now? Gwen asked. JT. Hey, I just wanted to warn Ben and Issei. JT said. Gwen. No, it's not like when we were little, Ben can take care of himself and Issei is with him to cover his back. Gwen said. JT. What about me? Cash is serious, but what if something goes wrong and he finds out that JT said, but Yuma interrupted him. Yuma. Nothing will happen to you, JT. Yuma said, and the three of them went to look for me and Ben at Mr. Smoothie's. Meanwhile with Kevin, he had arrived at the mannequin factory and was ready to punch Cash in the face for vandalizing his car and kick the door open. Kevin. Don't hide, your coward friend already told me that you're hiding here, Kevin said. Cash. Levin. I do not want to fight with you. Cash said. Kevin. I don't think the same, you damaged my beautiful car. Kevin said and Cash appeared in front of him and saw that his entire right arm was completely covered in metal. Kevin. Well, that's a surprise. Kevin said when he saw Cash's metal arm. Cash. That's cool, huh? I can also do this, Cash said, and he fired a laser beam towards the wall. Cash. You were about to leave, right? Cash asked. Kevin. No, this is good, really good. Kevin said and absorbed the material from the wall to cover his skin. Cash. What are you talking about? Cash asked. Kevin. You see, now that you've got that, I don't have to stop, Kevin said, and he threw a punch at the ground to make it shake, and then he threw a chair at him, but Cash broke it with a kick. Cash. That didn't hurt me. Cash said. Kevin. Oh yeah, and what about this? Kevin said and threw a punch at Cash, but he dodged it and hit Kevin in the face with a right hook to send him flying against the wall. Cash. That's good, Cash said, and the floor cracked and Kevin punched Cash in the chin, and the aforementioned counterattacked with a laser beam from his hand to Kevin, which made him fall to the ground floor with injuries. The whole body and Cash shot it again without stopping, and then he ran towards the metal shelves to change material and better protect himself from Cash's laser beams, and he watched as Kevin absorbed metal from a shelf and went down through the hole he made before and shot a trail of Kevin from behind to knock him out of combat. Kevin. Give me your best shot. Kevin said and Cash shot him again and knocked him out. Kevin. That was very good. Kevin Hurt said. Cash. I think this means you're no longer the toughest guy in town, Levin. Cash said. Kevin. And you are? Not even on your best day. Kevin said and the metal on Cash's arm began to spread through his body. Cash. Don't worry, Levin, this isn't against you. Ben Tennyson and Issei Hyoudou, it's all about them. Tell them that at 3 p.m. I'll wait for them in the Mr. Smoothie's parking lot. If they don't show up, then I'll go get them. Cash said and left to look for Ben and me. Meanwhile, Ben and I were drinking smoothies and I ended up getting involved in his experiments with mixing flavors. Ben mixed chocolate and carrot flavors while I mixed apple and banana flavors and we saw Gwen, Yuma and JT appear. Yuma. Ben, Issei, we've been looking for you everywhere. What are you doing, may I know? Yuma asked when he saw us with 2 glasses of smoothies in our hands. Issei. Ben involved me in a weird experiment and we mixed the flavors of different smoothies. I said. Ben. Yeah, and chocolate and carrot don't look good. What's JT doing here? Ben asked when he saw his ex-friend, now bully, next to the girls. Gwen. He came to warn you. Gwen said. JT. It's Cash. JT said, and I know it has to do with the hand of the Tennyson robot that we destroyed a few days ago. Yuma. We weren't worried, but Kevin went for Cash hours ago. Yuma said, and that alarmed me. Ben. You care about Kevin will destroy him. Ben said. Issei, I don't think so, Ben. I said to my friend and JT took us to the mannequin factory and we saw Kevin injured on the floor. I said to my friend and JT took us to the mannequin factory and we saw Kevin hurt on the floor. Kevin. I think you enjoyed it. Kevin said, irritated. Gwen. Kevin, what happened, are you hurt? Gwen asked worriedly. Kevin. It's not as bad as it looks. Kevin said. Ben. Wait a minute, did Cash do this to you? Ben asked Kevin and Ben laughed. Issei. It's not funny, Ben. I said to Brown. Kevin. He must have gotten alien technology, now he looks like the Tennyson robot we faced a few days ago. Kevin said. Issei. Well yes, you are right, Kevin. I said to the Osmotion. Yuma. And I think you two threw Kevin's car to steal the Tennyson robot's glove, right? Yuma asked JT irritably and nodded. Issei. Seriously, JT, what were you thinking? I asked JT angry and ready to break his face. JT. I wanted to return it, but I couldn't, it seems that he has possessed it. Believe me, Cash is not himself. JT said. Issei. I believe you, JT. I said to JT. Kevin. He challenged you, friends, at 3 p.m. in the Mr. Smoothie's parking lot. Kevin said. Ben. Okay, this will end now. Ben said. Issei. But that's 15 minutes away. Yuma takes Kevin to the hospital to treat his wounds. I said to Yuma and Ben and I went to the Mr. Smoothie's parking lot and saw that Cash was already almost all roboticized and attacking innocent people. Cash. So you thought he was funny, who's laughing now? Cash asked angrily. Ben. Hey, what's your problem? Ben asked Cash. Cash. You two are my problem, Tennyson and Hyoudou, but now I have power and no one can stop me, not even your friend Kevin. That's right, I beat Kevin 11 and you two are next. Cash said. Issei. We won't fight you, Cash. I said to Cash. Cash. Okay, then I'll finish quickly. Cash said, about to shoot Ben and I, but JT, Yuma and Gwen showed up to stop him. JT. Cash, listen, it's a misunderstanding, we're supposed to have fun, that's not you, dude. JT said, trying to reason with his best friend. Cash. You told my secret, Cash shouted angrily and shot JT, but Gwen protected him with a mana shield. Yuma. What a friend you have. Said Yuma, and just when Cash was going to attack the 3 of them, Ben and I transformed into Chromastone and Diamond Head to prevent him from killing them. Then Chromastone, Cash, please listen to us, you don't want to do this. Ben said, but Cash shot him and Ben bounced the shot towards the Mr. Smoothie sign. Issei, Diamond Head, you failed. I said, and Cash shot him with both hands at Ben and absorbed him while I shot bursts of glass at Cash to break his armor and Ben shot him afterwards and making him retreat. Issei, Diamond Head, you can't beat us, Cash. I said to the robotic bully. Cash. You think because you're freaks I'm going to stop? I'm not going to stop, ever, Cash said, and he attacked us and punched Ben and me in the face and then he threw us against a truck, but he didn't hurt us as much as the idiot Cash thought. Cash got angry and we threw punches left and right without stopping. Then Chromastone, tell us, why are you doing this to us? Why Issei and me? Ben asked Cash. Cash. Why not? Cash said. Issei, Diamond Head, I'll show you why not, Cash, I said to Cash, and we made him get on his knees and we managed to hold him. Then Chromastone, it doesn't have to be this way, Cash, none of the 3 of us gain anything by fighting, stop, Ben said, trying to help Cash. Cash. I can't. Cash said. JT. Yes you can. JT said. Cash. No, the machine wants to fight. Look, I can't do anything, it takes care of itself. Cash said, and a helmet formed on his head was the same as that of the Tennyson robot. JT. The Cash I know is not going to be guided by what a piece of metal tells him, you're the toughest kid in school, do it, JTA, Cash said. Cash. What do I do? Cash asked. JT. That thing doesn't control you, you control it. JT said, giving encouragement to his friend. Maybe. Cash said, and he let go of Ben and I, and he tried to regain control over his body, and he started to reverse back, and JT took the Tekkadan glove off his arm and threw it against the ground, and Cash got up thanks to the help of JT and Ben, and I returned to our human forms. JT. Thank you, and to you too. We should get together and eat some glue like old times, Ben. JT said to Ben. Ben? What? Ben asked. Issei. Nothing, forget it. I said to Ben. JT. Come on, Cash, it's time. JT said, and he and Cash went home, and Yuma picked up the Tekkadan glove. Yuma. Let's close that thing in a place where no one can find it anymore. Yuma said, and I had the perfect idea. Throw it into the sea. Issei. Come on, let's go see Kevin. I said, and we left the place. Chapter 10. Meeting Professor Paradox, changing the past. Rias, Akeno and I went to the occult club and saw Azazel trying to repair a strange machine, and we're going to confront him about why Issei was on TV. Rias and Akeno. Azazel, you owe us an explanation, Akeno, and I said angrily to the leader of the Fallen Angels faction. Azazel. Oh no, I was afraid this was going to happen. Azazel said, and Akeno electrocuted him, and I grabbed him by his shirt. Rias. Azazel, explain yourself, why is Issei on TV, and how is Rainer with him? I asked Azazel angrily. Akeno. Yes, and why is the gamer helmet plugged into the machine? Akeno asked, equally angry. Azazel. Let me explain, please. Azazel said, and I let him go, and he took the Ben10 Alien Force DVD out of my hand and put it in his laptop, and we saw the scene where Issei and Rainer at the lake, and we saw that Issei was wearing a red Omnitrix on his wrist, and it arrived to a scene in which a strange purple being appeared. Azazel. An Anodite. Impossible. I hope Issei doesn't run into Paradox and find out that he caused the storm that brought him to Ben's world the first time. Azazel said in his thoughts. POV Issei. The five of us were in Kevin's car driving to the Solided military base to look for clues about the hybrid and the Dnalians, but I know we're going to run into Professor Paradox instead. Kevin. You guys shouldn't have come, Gwen and I were able to figure this out alone. Kevin said. Yuma. Yes, so that we could then save you 5 minutes later after you got into trouble. Yuma said. Ben. Still, it's not something important. Strange noises, lights, rumors of strange creatures appearing. Ben said, and the five of us got out of the car. Kevin. Yeah, who did I hear those rumors from? They're not reliable. Kevin said. Issei. I don't want to know, nor do I care. I said. Gwen. Besides, isn't it a bad boy thing to come to the ghost town to do illegal races? Gwen asked. Kevin. How am I supposed to know? They are from the car shop. Kevin said. Issei. Yes, and why does it say Kevin is great on the wall? I said, pointing to the wall with the graffiti. Ben. Grandpa Mac said La Soledad was a big military base in the 50s. Ben said, about Soledad's past. Yuma. Yes, and it was also a great research base. Yuma said. Kevin. Yes, and it must have been a very serious investigation. Look at the walls, 50 years later, and you can't get past it. Kevin said when he saw the cracked wall of the military base. Issei. That hole here would say otherwise, Kevin. I said, pointing to the hole in the wall that was inside the base. Kevin. It can't be, that wasn't here. Kevin said when he saw the hole in the wall. Yuma. Well, now it's there, come on Kevin. Yuma said, and the five of us got inside the car to La Soledad, and we saw that the place was all old and disgusting after 50 years, and that it reminded me of Area 51 from my first adventure in Ben's world. Gwen. Did you notice that they have human forms? Gwen asked. Ben. Yeah, it's weird, maybe something went through the wall. Ben said. Issei, good theory, Ben. I said, and I know that this was the work of Hyoudou, Professor Paradox's assistant, and I know that this is the episode where we will meet him. Yuma. Yes, look at the ground, it's full of strange footprints, and there's even a skeleton on the ground. Said Yuma, pointing to the skeleton of a bird. Ben. It's a bird. Ben said, and we saw that there was also the skeleton of a lizard on the ground. Issei. And also that of a lizard, and they are fossils. I said, looking at the animal skeleton. Gwen. They're not the only thing. Gwen said, and we saw that there was a destroyed telephone booth. Yuma. It's like someone turned the blackboard into sand just by touching it. Yuma said. Kevin. Maybe I was waiting. Kevin said. Issei. The trail continues to the police station and then to these apartments. I said, seeing that the trail continued. Kevin. Just to clarify, someone came in here millions of years ago, and these buildings were built 50 years ago. Kevin asked, but he's wrong. Ben. You're not helping, these signs could be alien activity. Ben said. Yuma. And they could be Dnalians, but they didn't do that, does that look like DNA? Yuma said, and we saw Hyoudou transformed into his monster form and aged everything that was in his path. Kevin. Finally something that was worth the gasoline. Kevin said and covered his skin with stone, and Gwen and Yuma prepared to attack Hyoudou, while Ben and I transformed into Chromastone and Diamondhead respectively. Ben Chromastone, Issei Diamondhead. The five of us went to attack Hyoudou, but he attacked the building and left it in a mess, and we moved away so as not to be crushed. Ben Chromastone, he's gone. Ben said when he saw that Hyoudou was no longer there. Issei Diamondhead, should I said, and Ben and I returned to our human forms. Gwen. At least the building he destroyed wasn't the library. Gwen said. Kevin. Do you like books? Kevin asked. Issei. What Gwen wants to say is that we should investigate, find out what that thing is. I said to the others, but I know that that thing is a transformed human being. Ben. What we know so far is that it's looking for something that's in the base. Ben said. Yuma. Well, the library is there in front, let's go. Yuma said, and we went to the library to investigate, and Gwen was looking at the computers that Solided was built for time travel, and we saw Professor Paradox's photo on the computer. Kevin. Who would choose a desert near Bellwood to research? Kevin asked. Ben. They built it here because of the large quartz deposits. Ben said that there used to be large deposits of quartz here. Kevin. Quartz. Time. Maybe they were trying to build the largest clock in the world. Kevin said. Issei. Well, it's going to be that. No, the largest clock in the world is in Saudi Arabia. I said. Yuma. Guys, look, this scientist's name was erased. Yuma said when seeing Professor Paradox's photo. Issei. That scientist was in charge of the Paradox project to travel through time, but he disappeared 50 years ago. I said, and we saw that the research site was all deformed after 50 years. Kevin. It looks like my house after the party I had over the weekend. Kevin said. Yuma. Yes, the one I had to clean the next morning. Yuma said, irritated when remembering that she cleaned Kevin's house after having a party at her house. Gwen. Look, that thing was here too. Gwen said when she saw that Hyoudou had been here. Ben. It's just a trace, it could have came and disappeared. Ben said. Issei. Or he was born here. I said, and we heard a noise coming from outside, and Ben and I transformed into Swampfire and Heatlist. Ben Swampfire. Issei Heatlist. Ben and I went there and saw that the one making the noise was not Hyoudou, but Professor Paradox. Ben Swampfire, gotcha. Ben said. Paradox. Swampfire Heatlist, what do I remember, or do I remember now? It's hard to decide, don't you think, Issei and Ben? Paradox asked. Wait a minute, how does Paradox know who I am? Issei Heatlist, how does he know our names? I asked Paradox. Paradox. We already know each other is the right question. Paradox said, but I still don't understand it. Yuma. Hey, that's the man in the photo, but he hasn't aged at all. Yuma said. Gwen. Yuma's right, he hasn't changed anything in 50 years. Gwen said. Paradox. He is much more than that, do you want some gum? Paradox asked, offering us a ball of gum, but none of us wanted to. Ben Swampfire, who are you? What's it called? Ben10 Paradox asked. Paradox. Did you read my archive? I was hoping that you or Issei could tell me, I forgot hundreds of years ago. Paradox said. Kevin. I heard right, he said hundreds of years ago. Kevin asked. Yuma. You're not the only one, Kevin, I heard it too. Yuma said, and we saw that Paradox was no longer there. Issei Heatlist, hey, I said. Paradox. By the way, you didn't see a space-time anomaly, did you? It's very big and incredibly destructive and virtually unstoppable. No. I should have thought of another time, goodbye. Paradox said, and Kevin followed him. Kevin. Where did he go? Kevin asked, and Gwen saw Professor Paradox outside. Then Swampfire, he is obviously connected to that creature, we must talk to him. Ben said. Issei Heatlist, good idea, Ben. I said. Kevin. Oh yeah, we'll talk, Kevin said, and he destroyed the wall with one punch and started attacking Professor Paradox, but he went over the post and disappeared with his powers, and the next second he appeared behind Kevin, and the Asmosion continued attacking him, and we followed Kevin so we could catch him. Paradox but appeared behind us again. Paradox. It's a public space, did you know? Paradox said. Then Swampfire, why is he moving so fast? Ben asked. Paradox. Do you want to know why I move so fast? It's called walking. Paradox said, and appeared behind Kevin. Yuma. Ah, what a scare, Yuma said, surprised to see Paradox behind. Kevin. Gotcha, Kevin said. Paradox. Be careful with the robe, it's 1200 years old, anyway, thanks. Paradox said. Issei Heatlist, thank you, why? I asked. Paradox. Well, I had a feeling that if we made noise, he'd show up. Paradox said, and we saw Hyoudou. Kevin. Finally something we can hit. Kevin said, very bad idea, bro. Issei Heatlist, bad idea, Kevin. I said, knowing what is going to happen. When? Those turns are not footprints, they are ages, that creature accelerates time. Gwen said watching what Hyoudou was doing. Paradox. Well deduced, Gwendolyn. Paradox said and Kevin proceeded to attack Hyoudou, but just when Yuma and I were going to stop him, he already hit Hyoudou and Kevin saw how his hand wrinkled like a raisin, and when we came next to him, we saw that he was already an old man von Calvarota and Paradox was chasing Hyoudou meanwhile. Yuma. Oh my god, the monster has made him old, thank goodness it wasn't me. Yuma said and Ben and I picked up Kevin as we came out of our transformations. Ben. Just touching him aged him like 60 or 80 years, we have to take him to a hospital. Ben said and Kevin old man got mocked. Heaven elder. What are you doing? Take your hands off me, Kevin said in his old man's voice and Yuma and I started laughing when we heard his old man's voice. Gwen. It's not funny, Kevin needs help. Gwen said angrily. Issei. Okay, sorry. I said, damn, I almost forgot that Gwen is a killjoy. Heaven elder. What do you mean by help? I'm gonna kick his ass Kevin said, but he hurt his hip by moving like a beast. Yuma. Are you sure you don't want a cane to support you better? You have bad posture Kevin. Yuma said when he saw that Kevin had a hump. Heaven elder. My back is killing me, my legs hurt and what's with these shoes, is it too much to ask for a little support? Kevin asked irritably. Gwen. You're very irritable and bad-tempered, old man. Gwen said. Yuma. Not to mention that you're missing some teeth. Yuma said, giggling. Heaven elder. Why are you whispering? Kevin yelling asked. Issei. In other words, forgetting about his physique, he's the same Kevin Levin as always. I said and we went to the car and we saw that Kevin put the key to his car inside a cactus and you can see that his vision is getting worse and Ben took the key away from the elderly Kevin. Ben. I'll take care of it. Ben said, taking the keys from Kevin. Heaven elder. What do you think you're doing? Annoyed Kevin asked. Ben. I'll drive. Ben said. Heaven elder. Don't even think about it, you don't have a driver's license Kevin said, but he's right about that and I know Ben will make a mess driving. Ben. Grandpa Max taught me and it's an emergency. Ben said, but I know it's a bad idea. Issei. Ben's right, Kevin, you're almost blind, you have arthritis, you have bad reflexes, and you're trying to open a cactus. I said to the Osmosian elder. Yuma. Sorry, Kevin, the majority has spoken. Yuma said and we got into the car and I stood in front for the first time to instruct Ben on where he should drive. Heaven elder. You should have dated me when I was still young and handsome. Kevin said to Gwen. Gwen. You were very immature. Gwen said. Heaven elder. What about now? Kevin asked. Gwen. Very old. Gwen said. Yuma. Yes, you look like my grandfather, Kevin, but he was twice as evil as my father. Yuma said and that thing about his father being evil caught my attention. Issei, speed up Ben. I said and Ben reversed the car and crashed into 3 garbage cans by accident. Yuma. Be careful, Animal Yuma said. Heaven elder. It's not a bumper car Kevin said and Hyoudou appeared by a building and Ben pressed the reverse gear and then Gwen and I told him to go to the right and he continued accelerating and Hyoudou touched the car to rust it with his temporary touch and he didn't like that at all. Heaven elder. No, not my car Kevin said when he saw that his car was rusting and we went up a nearby ramp and the car was parked abruptly and we took Kevin out of the car and we saw the state of the vehicle and it was horrible. Yuma. My potato broke Yuma said scared. Heaven elder. You won't drive my car anymore Kevin said and we saw that the car couldn't handle it anymore. Issei. Well, it's not enough anymore, Kevin, and I hope your car has insurance. I said. Paradox. It's very easy, you must have arrived 6 seconds ago or time goes too fast. Paradox said looking at his pocket watch and Ben got angry. Ben. Better tell us who you are and what you do here Ben said angrily. Gwen. What is that creature? Gwen asked. Heaven elder. Can you fix my car? Kevin asked. Issei. And get Kevin back to normal? I asked. Paradox. There's something different about you, is it your hair? Paradox asked. Yuma. Are you stupid or are you doing it, don't you see Kevin is an old man? Said Yuma, irritated by Professor Paradox's attitude. Paradox. Do not talk to me about old age, because I am eternal. Paradox said. Heaven elder. Well, you better run into eternity, smarty Kevin said irritated. Paradox. You should stop, I need to fix this. Paradox said. Yuma. And how? Yuma asked. Paradox. I'll come back right here. Paradox said pointing to the right and we saw that Kevin was no longer there and Paradox appeared again with Kevin who had returned to his normal age. Gwen. Kevin, I can't believe it, you're like new Gwen said hugging Kevin who had returned to his normal age. Kevin. Well, my back hurts a little, if I could bend over I'd kiss you. Kevin said. Issei. Well, one problem is solved, another remains to be clarified. I said. Kevin, yes would you mind fixing my car? Kevin asked. Paradox. And how come you expect me to do that? I travel through time, I'm not a workshop. Repairing a car would mean breaking all the laws of space-time, and also Paradox said, but Ben interrupted him. Ben. Okay, enough, now I want answers. Ben said. Issei. And me too, and how does he know about me? I said. Paradox. Same old Ben Tennyson and same old Issei Hyoudou, you are more like you will be in the future, which for obvious reasons I can't say. Paradox said, but how does he know so much about me? Has no sense. Kevin. Do you want me to hurt him? Kevin asked, but Yuma stopped him. Issei. Explain yourself now, Paradox, before my patience runs out and I transform into 4 arms. I said. Paradox. Very well, I will tell you my story in a way that you understand, with an entrance, a middle and an end. Paradox said, and he told us that 50 years ago he was the scientist in charge of the Paradox project in which he traveled in time, but due to an accident he ended up sucked into his time machine and was introduced into the horizon, and he spent like 1000 years there inside, and he did not age, nor did he need to eat, or drink, or sleep, just exist. At first he went crazy, but after a few years he got bored and thought it was a unique and incredible feeling. He started to learn, and now he knows all of space-time like the palm of his hand, and allowing him to travel anywhere and everywhere he wants, no problems, except the homeworld of Alien X, but that's another story. Yuma. And where is his time machine? Yuma asked, but Paradox himself is the time machine. Ben. He doesn't have a time machine, he has a map in his head. Ben said. Paradox. Exactly, I know where all the exits are, I spent a couple of lives relating time, making it a better place. Paradox said. Kevin. And what's the pay? Kevin asked. Paradox. At the moment there is no satisfaction. You see, I recently found out that an alien creature is going to cause problems throughout the universe. Paradox said, and we were transported to a laboratory with a blackboard. Then. And what? The way you talk, you deal with monsters very often, what's wrong with this one? Ben asked, and Paradox took a piece of chalk to write on the blackboard. Paradox. Because unlike the others I've seen, this extra-dimensional monster came to our plane of reality the moment my plan failed. Paradox said. Kevin. Just to be clear. Is it your fault? Kevin said. Gwen. If that creature has been here for 50 years, we would have realized. Gwen said. Issei. Time doesn't always go the same, Gwen, it always changes. I said. Paradox. Issei is right, time is like a river, it moves, flows and returns. 50 years ago I accidentally made a change in that river, and this creature was released 50 years later into your present, doing this to your future. Paradox said while painting the blackboard. Yuma. But all he does is destroy a military base, why is there so much trouble? Why don't we stop bothering her? Yuma asked. Paradox. That question is better for the man in the moon. Paradox said, and we were all transported to the moon. Ben. What, who is the man in the moon? Ben asked. Issei. Easy, him. I said, pointing to Paradox. Ben. Are we on the moon? Ben asked. Paradox. No, we are on the moon of your future. Paradox said. Yuma. What? And why don't we suffocate due to lack of oxygen? Yuma asked, scared. Paradox. Good question, not exactly the point, but imagine what the Earth will look like in 200 years, with that monster hanging around here and aging everything in its path. For those without imagination, the Earth is there. Said Paradox, and we saw the Earth all dead. Issei. Why did you bring us to the worst version of the future? I asked. Paradox. No, assuming we stop that creature, this is your best possible future. Paradox said, and we saw another Professor Paradox. Paradox 2. It's not a pretty cider, is it? The other Paradox asked. Paradox. What are you doing here? Paradox asked his other self. Paradox 2. I allow myself to feel the impact of my failure. Said the other Paradox. Kevin. Okay, who is he? Kevin asked. Issei. It's a parallel paradox. I said. Paradox 2. Young Issei has an idea what temporal metaphysics is. Said the other Paradox. Yuma. Or rather, because I watched the entire Back to the Future trilogy last night and I fell asleep halfway through the third movie. Yuma said. Paradox 2. It doesn't matter, Rainer, that knowledge would come in handy for Ben and Issei in his future battles. Said the other Paradox. Ben. Sounds great. Ben said. Kevin. We can breathe on the moon, but you can't fix my car. Kevin said. Paradox. Why should I do it? Paradox asked. Paradox 2. Well, obviously I didn't do it, but whatever you do, you have to do it quickly because time is running out. Said the other Paradox, and we returned to La Soledad. When? Why did we come back here? Why don't we go back in time and stop the experiment from its beginning? Gwen asked. Paradox. It's not as easy as removing energy from an out-of-time situation. Paradox said. Gwen. I'm not an energy, Gwen Mosquito said, and remembering the incident with Verdona. Paradox. The experiment that created the creature also involves me. If we eliminate it, the Earth ends. Paradox said. Issei. Have you ever saved the world? I asked. Paradox. 100 times indeed. On one occasion you and Ben worked to save the universe and you sacrificed yourself to save. Oh, forget it, it must be here anytime it's time to activate your clocks. Said Paradox, and we saw Hyoudou destroying a building and Ben and I transformed into Jet Ray and Arctiguana. Then Jet Ray. Issei Arctiguana. Hyoudou was approaching us and Ben was shooting laser beams from his eyes. Well, I used my ice powers to slow down Hyoudou, but none of our powers did anything to him, and Paradox pulled bubble gum out of a bag and tossed them at Hyoudou and managed to slow him down. Then Jet Ray, did he eat them? Don't you age them the moment you touch them? Ben asked. Issei Arctiguana. Ben, gum lasts a long time, be careful, I warned Ben, and we moved away so Paradox could grab Hyoudou to prevent him from getting close to our friends. Yuma. Leave it, it'll age you, Yuma said. Paradox. I exist outside of time, but I still feel the years go by. Paradox said, and Ben and I reverted to our human forms. Then. Paradox, take us now to the accident. Ben said. Paradox. But I told you that, Paradox said, but I interrupted him. Issei. Just do it, I said, and we were taken 50 years in the past on the day of the accident. Then. You three to the laboratory, quick. Ben said, and Gwen, Kevin and Yuma went to the laboratory. Issei. Keep that thing busy. I said to Paradox, and Ben and I went to the laboratory. Paradox. Keeping her busy. I'm a time-traveling hero. I don't keep things busy, said Paradox, and Ben and I arrived at the laboratory and saw what seemed to be the general, and he asked Paradox if the experiment would work and that this project cost the United States government a lot of money, and we managed to go unnoticed, and we saw the Professor Paradox like Hyoudou before being transformed into his monster form. Ben. Why use the phone? Ben asked. Gwen. What? Issei. The creature tried to use the phone, then he went to the police station and then to the dorms. She didn't act like a creature from another dimension, she did everything a human being would do. I said. Yuma. That's if he finds himself abandoned in a military base. Said Yuma, and we saw the time ring light up with a huge glow, and we saw that it was Hyoudou who ruined the experiment by accident. Ben. Look, the assistant. Ben said when he saw what Hyoudou did by accident, and we saw how all the equipment in Paradox are being sucked up. Hyoudou. Help, Hyoudou shouted, asking to be saved, and Ben and I activated our Omnitrix and transformed into Human Gausaur and 4 arms. Then Human Gausaur. Issei 4 arms. Ben said about saving Hyoudou while I moved Gwen, Kevin and Yuma away to avoid being sucked into the time ring. Yuma threw a spear of light at the time ring and destroyed it completely, and outside Professor Paradox was going to be hit with a building nearby, but Hyoudou returned to normality and the worst has been averted. Paradox. Hyoudou, of course, if I were a snake I would have bitten me. Paradox said, and we left the place and saw that Hyoudou became human again. Paradox. Well, you're not that selfish, Ben, and you're not that perverted, Issei, I would have figured it out eventually. Paradox said, and we returned to our time. Paradox. Well, I must admit that I'm impressed, all those years stuck on the horizon, and it never occurred to me that the accident wasn't my fault. You two are much smarter than when I met you a few years ago. Paradox said. Ben. Thanks, I guess so. Ben said. Issei. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. I said. Gwen. What happened to him, to your assistant? Gwen asked for Hyoudou. Yuma. Yes, what happened to Hyoudou? Yuma asked. Hyoudou. I lived my life. Hyoudou said that he was now a 75-year-old old man with a walking cane. Paradox. Hyoudou, how have you been? Paradox said, happy to see his former assistant after many years and that he was now an old man. Hyoudou. Well, you look very good and I haven't seen you in 50 years. Hyoudou said, happy to see Professor Paradox. Paradox. Well, I haven't seen you in 100,000 years and you don't look like that, what was your life like? Paradox asked Hyoudou. Hyoudou. Good, a good life. But, sorry for the experiment, I ruined everything, I couldn't travel in time. Hyoudou said, very sorry for what he did 50 years ago. Paradox. Would you like to do it now? Paradox asked, and Hyoudou was happy to hear that. Hyoudou. Yes, I'm not afraid anymore. Hyoudou said. Paradox. It's good to hear it, how about I show you what it's like to see eternity? Paradox said and opened a time portal, and he and Hyoudou crossed it. Gwen. At least you have company now. Gwen said. Kevin. Oh yeah, thanks for leaving us here in the middle of nowhere, Kevin said angrily. Ben. Let's go, we must walk home. Ben said. Issei. I don't think it's necessary. I said. Yuma. Look, the car is fixed. Yuma said, and we saw Kevin's car like new and there was a note on the windshield. Issei. Kevin, I'm just reminding you that if this car comes into contact with anything from 1976, rest assured it will explode. Enjoy, Paradox. I said when reading Paradox's note, and we got into the car and we returned to Bellwood and Yuma fell asleep on my shoulder, and I really liked the feeling, and we both blushed. Normal POV. Meanwhile in La Soledad, Hiro and his sister Hikari were seen at the military base watching what happened with Paradox. Hikari. Ani-sama, this place scares me. Why did mom and dad think of coming here with Ben, Gwen and Kevin? I don't understand. Hikari said, scared. Hiro. No idea, but I know that the hybrid have something to do with this place and they're coming right now, let's hide. Hiro said, and the two of them hid and saw Supreme come out of a truck. Supreme. Prepare the cargo for construction and contact Gorvin immediately to bring the components. The Supreme ordered the aliens and they obeyed. Hikari. Did you say Gorvin? Wasn't he a former plumber who had been fired for trafficking illegal weapons? Hikari asked. Hiro. Yes, and apparently he works with the hybrid and they will plan to build a meteorological tower like the one in Grover's Mill. Hiro said. Hikari. We have to get away from here as soon as possible, Hikari said. Hiro. Yes, and to ensure that Gorvin doesn't get close to mom and dad. Hiro said, and the two of them got on Hiro's motorcycle and went to Bellwood to prevent Gorvin from approaching them, and on a hill, Paradox was watching both brothers. Paradox. Good luck, Hyoudou and Hikari. Hyoudou, protect your parents' future and fulfill your father's destiny. Paradox said about Hiro and Hikari being from the future and that their parents are Issei and Yuma. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.